Okay, well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, good evening, good evening. Um, Let me see. I hope you're well. I hope you have a good evening. And today, of course, is the 22nd of June, 2023. And I want to welcome and thank you for those joining me on TikTok and those joining me on Facebook and YouTube. It's a beautiful day. Rain started to fall a bit earlier. Um, but what can I say? We thank God for every different rain and every different weather. Uh, there's so much things which are, well, every week there's always something new. There's always something happening, and I think people are being mesmerized, if that's the right word, in regards. Well, two major things happened today. Two major things happened today, and I think one of the big ones is the interest rate, which has moved to 5%, and secondly, the submarine, which have lost. Well, it is believed that they've all been lost now. Five of them have been. It's a crazy one. We could talk about that, and also most importantly, the Windrush. 75 years of the Windrush, so that's going to be really good, and lots of people talking about that. Let me just welcome Garry in. Garry, how are you doing? Hope you can hear me well because I can't seem to. Don't know if I hear myself. Can you hear me well?
Yeah, I hear you loud and clear on my end.
You hear me loud and clear. Okay, good. How is the day today? It's a very beautiful, funny day outside there. Very quiet. Rain started to fall.
No, it's been good this end. It was raining earlier on,
Yeah,
but it's been a very mild day, so it's been good. It's been good, and it's great to be on the Sylbourne Sydial show.
yeah. Well, somebody on Instagram said they want to talk. TikTok said they want to talk about the interest rate. That's very interesting. I'm going to talk about that as well. It'd be great if you could come on the mainstream on YouTube. Can you do that? If not, I'll bring you on the YouTube, sorry, in the Instagram, sorry, the TikTok, and we can hear your voice. I cannot hear him clearly. You cannot hear me clearly. Let me see. I've requested. No, no, no. Not here on the YouTube, because the YouTube is the one which is the main host at this time, not the TikTok. Swipe right to, yeah. Um, so that's the thing. It's on Sylbourne TV. Okay, yeah. Okay, don't worry. I'm gonna bring you on. We'll talk on the Instagram. Okay, we'll talk on Instagram. Um, we'll talk on the Instagram shortly. Just give me a second. Okay, Garry. Yeah. Um, before we go on to the interest rate, I think one of the I don't know which one to talk about, but let's talk about the five gentlemen who got lost at sea. I mean, that's a bit of a very interesting one.
It is. It's a sad situation.
Yeah,
Um, I think the whole world was really hoping that the five. I think it's five altogether, isn't it?
yeah, yeah,
That the five souls would have been found, and that they would be able to return to their families. It's sad. I mean, losing a life under any kind of condition, really,
yeah.
it's a sad affair. It's a sad affair. So my condolences really goes out to the families of these five people, and let us say, I mean, we may not have heard of them um, we
Before,
may not have heard of them before, and one very young life has been lost, and
mm,
but a life that has been lived, a life a life um, that has been touched, really, um, does make a difference in the world in which we live. We may not have to know individuals personally. We may not have to do that, but sadly, lives are lost, and families will be losing their loved ones.
uh, guys, can you hear me?
Hello, sir. Yes, thank you for allowing me on your live. It wasn't you that I couldn't hear.
Okay.
It was the other guest.
Okay.
I can hear you clearly, and I hope you can hear me clearly.
No,
but the other guest, I really was struggling to hear what he was saying.
Okay, right. Because I started to fidget with all my gadgets, and sometimes you fix your thing and you mess it up. So I was there wondering,
It's okay.
Yeah, well, listen. As I said a while ago, the mainstream is the YouTube, but of course, I've got to be adaptable to everything. We're gonna definitely talk about interest rate because I find it to be very interesting. But I think the first thing, guys, and Gary was just talking about a while ago, is the five gentlemen who got lost, and they're presumed dead. In the on their way to the Titanic. What's your take on that?
Well, firstly, obviously, I'm very sorry for any loss of life that is premature. The only thing that I can say is that clearly that area where the Titanic is obviously a very dodgy area.
Yes.
For rich people. Because the Titanic went down with some of the most richest people on the planet. And clearly this submarine's gone down with billionaires on it. I think, was it £250,000 or £200,000 to get a seat on that submarine to go down and have a look at the Titanic, which, effectively took down so many wealthy people back in the day.
Yeah.
So, it's rather a very, very, unlucky place for rich people, or or it was just very, very unlucky what's happened. But clearly, it's a tragedy, a terrible, terrible tragedy of premature lives that wasn't meant to die at such a young age, all of them.
Yeah.
But I just think it's ironic that they was going to see a ship that went down that took so many wealthy people down with it. And they was also wealthy themselves, paying such ridiculous amounts of money to go down to the bottom of the sea to see the Titanic.
Yeah. Well, for persons who are asking if they're all British, what it says, the men on the board, the sub included Stockton Rush, the 61-year-old CEO of Ocean Gate, as well as British Pakistani businessman Shazda Dawood, 48, his son Suleiman, 19, and British businessman Hamish Harding, 58. The fifth man on board, Paul Henry Nargelet, was a 77-year-old former French Navy diver and renowned explorer. So for the question which were asked, weren't they all British? 3 were British. That's correct, guys, isn't it?
I'm gathering. One was a billionaire, I believe.
Yes.
A billionaire.
Yeah.
I'm not too sure about how much they was charging to go on this. Was it a 5-seater vessel? Something like £100,000 plus £200,000 per seat to go down and see this ship that essentially took down so many wealthy people, some of the wealthiest people in the world, the unsinkable, the Titanic that sank.
I think Gary and Gary, I think what is very interesting though is a bit whereby they actually were sealed in, they were locked in, and they were looking for my son gadget. One of those gadgets they were using to steer themselves.
Yeah. I mean, for me, to be fair, I really am on here to talk about the interest rates. I really, really am. But obviously, that is in the news. It is a tragedy, an absolute tragedy. But the only thing I can sort of have an opinion on is the irony of the fact that these are very rich people who's paid a premium to have a seat to go down to look at a luxury liner that took down so many rich people,
so many lives. And at the same time, let's go back to the Titanic. There was a demarcation, and there was a sort of separation. There was a level of inequality at the same time, whereby the poor were stuck down, and those at the top, on the rich men, were getting off at the same time. Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, our condolences to them, and and £250,000 could have actually sought out some sort of things for people at this time and create opportunities, isn't it, Gary?
Yeah, yes, it could. It could.
Yeah,
I mean, it's remarkable the gentleman there has
said,
noted.
yeah,
Yeah, in that the Titanic, which sunk, it sunk with uh, with a few of the world's richest people, billionaires, that was on the Titanic, because it was only them at that time that could really travel on the Titanic.
yes,
And then for this tragic circumstance again to happen, where you've got five people, and I dare say, yes, that probably a few of them, if not all of them, were billionaires in their own rights. And it's an irony, isn't it?
yeah,
that,
yeah,
that so many people are dying, just for the luxury of seeing something that brought down so many other lives
yes,
so many years ago, really.
yes, yes.
You know,
Anyway,
just one.
anyway, well, our condolences to them and to their families, and may they rest in peace. If that's the case, there could be some miracle whereby they are found, but that's the case. But I think if we're not careful, a lot of people will die with this interest rate. What do you think about this interest rate, guys? 4.5 jump to 5. Normally we talk with another point.
Listen at this. I'm very, very, very passionate about this, sir. And I would love to get comments and other people's opinions on this. But for me, I remember back in the day that an person.
The connection there, still.
People who was active directors on big businesses, firms, was being elected to represent the people, but it was laws that suited them, not the employer. There wasn't looking after the interest of the employers. They was making laws that suited them. And then people realized this was happening. They changed the law because they said it was a conflict of interest. You could not be a member of parliament and an active director of a firm because it was a conflict of interest. Well, you cannot get a more conflict of interest than having the chairman of the Bank of England do the interest rates. That has got to be the most clear conflict of interest ever. You see, it wasn't always the case. Parliament.
Can you go back to the
Parliament?
Yeah. Can you go back to the
Parliament used to do the interest rates, sir. That's my point. Parliament used to do the interest rates, and it wasn't a conflict of interest. But I'm not sure which party gave the job to the Bank of England chairman, or gave it back to the Bank of England. I'm not sure if they used to have it before and then it was taken off them because obviously conflict of interest. So to me, these people that clearly make money off the. I mean, the payout interest for savers, but they also make money. They pay bonuses. They pay their staff. They make ridiculous amounts of bonuses off the back of all this interest rate. So it's just a conflict of interest. The Bank of England should not have the job of deciding if the interest rates go up.
But what the Prime Minister is actually saying, and Jeremy Hunt is saying, that they're all creating, and they do not want to intervene in the independence of the Bank of England position.
But how can you? You see, this is the same thing as a member of Parliament being a director or an owner of a business, and then making rules that are biased to the owner rather than the people. It's a conflict of interest. That's why we stopped MPs from being active directors in a firm. I think Lord Sainsbury had to give up his power on the Sainsbury's chain of Sainsbury's shops on the director. He had to give up his power on that to concentrate on politics.
Guys, can you stop? Can you stop for a second?
Yeah, go on.
Who is the MP that is on the board, the Bank of England governorship? Who is
No,
that?
you're missing what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is when you're in when you can make decisions, powerful decisions that influence your own situation, like being an MP and making decisions because you're a business owner, then the decisions and the laws that you will make will support you and not the people.
Right.
That's when a conflict of interest is clear, and that's when you cannot be an MP or an owner of a business. But what I'm saying to you is that once, I can't remember the year that it was, that Parliament was the people who decided whether the interest rates went up or down. The Parliament. But 1 year, they gave the job to the Bank of England. Now, that is clearly the Bank of England has a conflict of interest because they're making money off everyone to put the interest rates up.
Yeah. Garry, let's. Okay. Thanks for that. Lester, how are you?
Can I just say something there? I would support what your what
Guys.
What Garry is saying. I would support what Garry is saying. I do believe, in answer to the question he asked while he was talking, I think it was Gordon Brown, the Labour Party, I think so, that gave the authority, handed the authority to the Bank of England to set interest rates. Yeah, I think so, because it was during that time when the country was wondering whether the Labour Party, who was in government then, was conservative, and the conservative was Labour, because Tony Blair and Gordon Brown, they were more conservative in their business dealings than the Conservative Party. But I agree with what Garry has said, because what is really happening now, and I really believe this, guys, I don't know if he can, if he's got information or he can speak a little bit more about this, but I really believe that the government and the government of our world is only just trying to bring the citizens of their countries and of the world into a position so that they can accept and will accept the digital currency that is on the periphery. Because if they can bring the economic collapse to a point that the only thing that they can do is to accept it, then that is what they're going to do. Because the governments already know that the situation that we're in, I'm not saying it's 100%. I'm just saying it's been partly being brought about by the pandemic in which happened a few months ago.
Before you come in, guys, you got anything to say back to what Garry just said?
No, I think it's very interesting. Was it Garry?
Garry, yes, Garry.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting what Garry says, and there might be underlining issues, ulterior motives of, to bring this, what he's talking about in. There might be talks in the boardrooms, in the meeting places, in the private, sectors of what they want to bring in, because, even though that these MPs and people in such business, they often seem as if they are, just driven to make money at the cost of everyone else. And they don't really have any other plan, any other morals about them. They are obviously very clever, and they can often play in one direction, just like a magician is to distract you in one sense, so he can make the magic happen in another area.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe he could be right. It could be just a distraction, but it's definitely the most blatant conflict of interest to give the power of interest rates to the bank.
And just to confirm what, and also Garry said it, and I just looked a while ago. I think Garry found the same bit there where it was Gordon Brown who actually made in 1997. Former Prime Minister Gordon Brown spoke about the history of the Bank of England's independence. His government granted the bank operational independence over monetary policy in 1997. I believe that's what Garry just said. Lester,
Yeah.
what you say? What's your take on what's going on in England?
Um, regarding a central bank and controlling interest rate, isn't that in for many countries the standard, because isn't the Feds in the United States the one who set the interest rates also?
And in Jamaica as well.
And in
I mean,
Jamaica
Garry.
also, and you know, so it's not a strange thing. I hear guys, I don't understand the conflict of interest per se, you know, because if it's the parliament doing it, they will still have underlying reasons to set it how they see it fit to benefit them also. You know, they might do it a little bit more disguised, but people
Well, no,
always people in power always look out
sir,
for.
with respect,
Lester, go on.
can you hear me? Yeah, with respect, you see, if the government are responsible for the interest rates, it's a simple case that if they get it wrong, then it can be of such a serious nature that they will not be re-elected, on the next term. So if they remove this responsibility from them, and I think you are right in who has done this, but I seem to remember it being said from Gordon, the MP then of that day, saying, that he seems no reason that the government need to do the interest rates. He believed that the decision of interest rates should be made from people who know what they're talking about, meaning that the bank is the more professional person. But again, I just want to bring your attention back to this being a conflict of interest, because it's almost like going the opposite way. Like, rather than progressing, it's like going the other way and saying, well, let's give all the business owners the title of MPs again, so that they can make laws that will suit them and strengthen their position. Let's all the MPs outlaw going on strike, because it will not suit them. Let's all the MPs have the businesses again, and they will cap pay rises, because it will suit them. You see, that's why you can't have an MP that has a business and then makes laws for the country, because they just naturally will lean towards feathering their own nests.
So
and that's why it's a conflict of interest. And I don't care how you spin it, who spins it, giving the Bank of England the control of interest rates is a conflict of interest.
So are you trying to say then it should remain in Parliament?
Absolutely. And then if Parliament get it wrong, then someone else will be elected. It will be part of manifestos. It will be part of election. They will care more about the people and about what's happening to the people, or they should do, being the elected person in Parliament, than these people who are business people in the Bank of England that are clearly.
One second, Lester. I hear what you're saying there, and I can see what is happening, because Rishi Sunak said the independence, and Jeremy Hunt said the independence, and then Rishi Sunak said, we know we've got to do this, but trust me, everything is all right. Everything will be all right. And then Keir Starmer said, this is crazy. Because it is 13 years of the Tories, but somehow
Bank of England, whether they get it right or whether they get it wrong, it will remove the responsibility from the party who should be the people responsible for the interest rate. I mean, let's face it, this war in Ukraine is what's caused a lot of inflation in our country. There are many, many, many people that have been without houses and need houses. So you need houses. So the fact that people are buying houses, which is giving jobs, you know, the bricklayers, the surveyors, the labourers, it's giving jobs, the houses. So that raising interest rates, because they don't want you to spend money, they want you to save money. They're essentially saying we don't want anyone buying any new houses. We don't want anyone taking loans out anymore. Because we want you to save your money and not borrow money. So why affect the millions and millions of people that have had mortgages for 5-10 years? Because they're not the people that's borrowing money, but they're the people that's being punished because of this.
True.
You've got, you know,
I'm being
everybody's
punished.
struggling. The food queues are getting longer.
Yes.
You know, I can't believe how much milk's gone up, bread's gone up, the basic things, fuel's gone up, and then they go and put interest rates up because they want to stop the spending. You know, it's wrong. It doesn't make sense. They are punishing too many people that have had. It's not the people who's already got mortgages the problem. They're saying it's the people who's buying houses the problem.
Yeah.
So why punish the millions and millions of people that's already got mortgages? But there was a woman on the telly today. She says that she had fixed rates for a while. This week, her mortgage goes up £900 from this week. And she doesn't know what to do. She's a widower, and this is the family home that her and her husband have spent all their lives getting the home that she wants. And she's having to seriously think about selling it because the mortgage has gone up to £900 from this week.
Yeah,
you know, it's just ridiculous.
Okay, look, we're gonna go into the merits of and who are the winners and the losers. Let's say you're saying something.
Yeah, I understand the point that guys is advocating, and it's an opinion, and he has a very strong opinion about it. I disagree, because whether the parliament controls the interest rates or the central bank, business people essentially in any country kind of dictate the pace of policies and stuff like that. So even when the parliament controls a particular instrument, right? The business people usually have such pull that they can sway parliament to do their bidding, and it is usually done covertly, you know. So if it's in one hand, it can be swayed. If it's in the other hand, it can be swayed, because we have seen this over and over in every society. So it's not a guarantee that because a particular policy or instrument is in the hands of the parliament that it will be for the masses per se. You know, there's always business interests at heart behind the scenes, controlling and pushing issues.
Yeah, guys, someone has responded to you guys on TikTok to say that you can read their comment. I've asked Clarity and Chaos if they want.
Doesn't have knowledge of economic theory. I mean, isn't that a really easy way to say, you know, we don't value your opinion or your observation? We don't, you know, these people, every person in the country that has and other countries that are associated with the British government, every mortgage, who's had a mortgage for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, who's probably got no money because of inflation anyway, because of the fuel going up, the heating going up, the food on the shelves going up. So everyone who's had a mortgage for 5, 10, 15 years, they're not trying to borrow new money, they're just trying to survive with what they've got, and everything else has gone up in inflation. And then the interest slowly begin to go up. The 13th.
Sylbourne?
You know, a job, a mortgage, and get their heads down, and after 20, 30 years, you'll have bought your house. They're the people that are suffering because of this. It's a false thing.
Can you hear me now? Let's say, yeah?
The rich people have
Don't worry, I see it comes off. I see it. Yeah.
The rich people have been knocking on this door for so long to interest rates up so they can get some money from their savings. That's the only people who's doing well out of this is the people who's rich already.
Yeah. There's a video on the play, and I'll play it in the background. There's a professor, I believe, I don't know if it's London School of Economics, and he was saying something about stagflation. I'm sure Channel 4 won't give me a hard time for this. I'm going to play it. Listen to this.
Too high, you may be able to bring inflation down, but you will certainly push the.
Let me bring it back. Yeah, sorry. One second. I'll turn it up.
You may be able to bring inflation down, but you will certainly.
I'll start again.
If you push interest rates too high, you may be able to bring inflation down, but you will certainly push the economy into recession.
Okay, what he said, if you push interest rate too high, you may be able to bring inflation down.
The mortgage markets.
How likely is it for the UK now to go into recession?
I am really worried about this. I am very, very worried about this. I think the word.
Let me see.
I am really worried about this.
Okay, let's go back.
And you will cause problems with the mortgage markets.
How likely is it?
But you'll certainly push the economy into recession. That's what he said. Into recession.
For the UK now to go into recession.
I am really worried about this. I am very, very worried about this. I think the word stagflation, stag being the recession side of growth, inflation being high price inflation, is going to be something that you and me and others will say way too many times in the next few months.
Well, headline inflation has come off its.
Okay, so that's just someone talking about stagflation, and I recognize that there have been a few persons who were really surprised by the interest. Somebody said, "Can't you come on StreamYard?" But you can't actually. That's what. Am I correct, guys? You say you can't come on to YouTube. Yes, that's correct, guys.
No, I'm tied to TikTok. It's much easier for me. I've never been on YouTube before, so it would take a while.
No. It's not. Actually, it's a very easy thing. You're not the one gonna go onto YouTube. I'll send you a link. You just click the link, and it's the same thing as TikTok. You'll be surprised. It is so easy.
Yeah, the thing is, I can't hear your other guests clearly.
Well, that's the point. That's the point. That is why you need to go on to, because you'll be in the room. You'll be in the same room, and you can hear clearly. So it's really a simple process. It is not like you're going to try to find YouTube or do some gadget with YouTube. You just click a simple link, and I'll send you the link, and you can try. Okay.
But send me the link. But I'm still happy here just for now. I'm actually following you.
Yeah.
So I will see when you're up on other nights, and I will toy with it. But
I wish Clarity and Chaos is saying the UK is competing with other sovereign governments to sell their bonds, and interest rates have to. Someone said the concept is only sanctioned by the Bank of England that high rates will strengthen the pound. But somehow I believe that I think personally that the Bank of England governor is I think he's getting it wrong. That's just me. I've been saying that for a long time. I think he's getting it wrong.
You see, if I can say this, if I can say this, I am very much. I think I understand Gaius and what he's saying, and I really believe. I do believe. You see, the government knows what the Bank of England is doing. Whatever the Bank of England is doing, the government is informed. The MPs are informed. Everybody is in the link, and the MPs, if they really were representing the constituencies as they say they were, then they would do what they're supposed to do. But they're towing the line. They're towing the line. If the Bank of England wanted to lessen the interest rate, then they could do it. If they wanted to keep it at the same rate as it was, they could do it. But obviously, I believe that there is something behind what they're doing. They're not just pushing it up because they want to. things are going through the roof, and again, Lester is right in some forms. If the government had the power to do, well, the government has the power to do whatever they want to do. They could take away right now the authority for the governor of the Bank of England to set rates. They could do that. There's nothing stopping them. And the government could take hold, but they don't want that. They don't want to do that. They're saying that the Conservative Party is the party of business. That's what they've always said. So they want businesses to thrive. Look at the other day when all of these energy companies were making billions
They're
in
still,
profit, right? Why didn't they say to them that they ought to pay higher taxes? Why didn't they force them to do that? They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. And so whatever is happening now, there is no government is going to come in and reverse that. The citizens of this country, I'm saying that we all are going to have to watch out, because worse is to come. And the government knows that. No government official is going to stand before the cameras, BBC, ITV, Channel 4, Channel 5, CNN, and Sky, and all of them. None is going to stand, is going to come before the cameras of this world and say things are bad and this is what's going to happen and food is going to run out and all of that. They're going to blame Ukraine. They're going to blame whoever they're going to blame, because they see what's coming. They see what is going to happen.
So Garry, you think it's doom and disaster, doom and gloom?
Well, it's going to be because wasn't it Gaius that just said that there's a lady? I feel sorry for her. Her interest rates have gone up, and it's by £900 in one swoop. Who is there to help her? Who? And she, I'm quite sure, is not the only person to have that effect. There's going to be hundreds, if not thousands, of individuals that's going to feel the pinch. It's either they pay the mortgage, sell, or they don't eat.
Yes.
And that is the situation of the situation that we're in. And the governments of this world and the government of this country, they do not care. They are feathering their own nest, because a lot of these MPs are business owners. A lot of these MPs are business owners. And on top of that, what is their salary for the year? 80,000 plus they get allowance to buy flats or whatever.
I think the Jamaican government is getting paid more than them.
No, well, the thing about it, Sylbourne, is that the MPs, as much as some of them, and there may be one of them that really do feel it for their constituents. I'm not saying everybody's like that. No, there must be one or two MPs that really want to do their best. But on the whole, the good or the bad or the good have to suffer for the bad.
Yeah, guys, were you able to? I sent you a link. I don't know if you're there. I sent you a link.
No, I've seen the. Yeah, I see the link.
That's just an example.
Yeah, okay. I will look at it and see what I can do with it.
Yeah. Well, based on what Garry. Sorry, go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
It's very interesting what the other gentleman was saying. I think he's got it right. I think that the rich are just simply making the rich richer. I think that lady who whose mortgage has gone up £900 from this week, she's not after new money. She wasn't. The whole point of the interest rates going up is to stop people spending money. Well, she wasn't spending money. It wasn't her that was buying a new house. You know, they're trying to say that the system is to sort out spending money, but they are affecting millions of people that wasn't spending money. You know, there was already struggling like everyone else. You know, so it doesn't make sense to penalise everyone for a few people that might be borrowing money and they don't want them to borrow money, they want them to save money.
Yes.
And it seems like people are suffering. And as far as the Bank of England goes, they are just someone who does print money. That's essentially their job, to print money. So they are necessarily the authority on whether the people we elect to look after our interests, which should also be the Bank of Interest, the Bank of England interest rate, the interest rates on the houses. The government should take the job back, take responsibility for that decision, and you know, they should book their ideas up and let's get the right. If this government can't do it, if Conservatives can't do it, then let's vote in someone who can. If the next government can't do it, let's vote someone else in who can. But giving the job to someone whose job is just to print money, that's all the Bank of England's job is, to print money. You know, they might have a very, very clever chairman, but his interest is not for the people. I think his interest is clearly for the banks.
I do note what Clarity and Chaos is saying, that government that sets their own interest rate will have to pay a premium on issuing bonds. Take 2 minutes to look up the total UK government debt. Sorry, people need to live in the real world. I think the real world actually is when people are dying from high interest rate and they can't afford food. That is what someone was saying, and I hear what you're saying, Clarity, but I realize that anytime there's a war or something major happening, they always find money for these things. They always find money. So if the government wants to help, they can help. Lester?
Yeah, Sylbourne.
Yeah.
And that's true. Governments will find money to do whatever they want to do. You know, always.
Of course, find money.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was kidding.
Yeah. But you know the thing is, have you ever heard of the ALEC group?
The ALEC group.
The ALEC group in the US.
I'm not sure now.
Okay.
Garry might know.
It's a group it's a group of powerful businessmen, right? Who ALEC is an acronym. So they write policies on white paper, and they will push it through a governor or a senator to push it through into policy or into law, right? So many times you hear that say Senator Johnson or whoever, Ted Cruz or whoever, come with a policy or a bill. 9 out of 10 times it's not coming from the government per se or the MP, But what we are to look at is, I think governments are in the G8 countries are looking at the future, right? We are seeing where there's a serious geopolitical jostling going on around now with the BRICS nations, right? So and the countries that we see are joining BRICS. I think the United Kingdom, United States, Australia, Canada, and these countries are really looking at BRICS, because if 45% of the world are moving over to BRICS, this is a serious impact on the pound sterling and the London Stock Exchange and the New York Stock Exchange and stuff like that. So I think what we're seeing happening is a jostling and adjusting, right? In these G8 countries. So when we see moves like this happening, it is not just greedy politicians or greedy businessmen. They know something that we don't know as yet.
Yes.
And what they're doing, they're realigning and repositioning themselves so that they can benefit in the long run. And as what Garry said, government, there are many things that a government will take to parliament, you know,
Yes.
whether the UK government or the US government or Jamaican government, whichever government. And many times, you know, they don't have to, you know, they can push through stuff without going through parliament.
Yes.
But just because of formalities, they
Mm.
do. But when you see interest rates switching hand, when you see interest rate going up or inflation going down and stuff like that, it is always a future plan ahead why they are doing certain things right now.
You know,
Always.
yeah. You know what Michelle Clark said? Interest rates are going up all over the world, and I know that as well. Interest rate just went up here, that's in the States, and we hear it's about to go up again. I just had to change my house insurance because of interest rates. One of the advice which is going around, which Martin Lewis is also saying, people need to sort of start to have a look at their income and expenditure. People have to start to look at how they can actually generate more income, because in real terms, their purchasing power or their wages or whatever is going down, because as these things go up, I mean, I know my bank is going to call me and send you the new thing for or the mortgage will go up, you know, and one will feel the pinch. But I believe that it's an opportune time for persons to look to see how they can generate more income. What do you say,
Sylbourne,
Gary? Sorry, Gary, yes, sir.
Sylbourne, I mean, yes, but
1 second, guys. 1 second, guys. Garry, yeah.
Sylbourne, that is all good and proper, but not everybody,
Yeah.
everybody has the acumen. I'm not saying everybody's stupid or
Yeah.
so. I'm not saying that,
I understand.
right? I don't want to demean anybody, but not everybody is au fait to be going out there and starting a business.
Yeah.
You know, the government and let's in particular talk about the British in the British society here, because we are the ones feeling it here.
Yeah.
And I know that Michelle is in the United States and all of that, and that's fine. But there are some people who are going to struggle, and they're going to lose their houses. People won't have time to be thinking, what is it? You know, what am I going to do tomorrow to start a business?
Yes.
No. The governments, this government here, they need to come back down to earth. Yes, they need to take hold of monetary or fiscal policy.
Taking responsibility.
Yes.
Taking responsibility.
Yes.
That's what Guy is saying. Take responsibility.
All of this quantitative easing and these technical terms that they keep coming out with, pumping money into the system, and then when they're ready, they tighten it up. Yes, they're hurting people.
Yes.
The people that they're not hurting is themselves, because when you look at people who are making these decisions, they already have the money. They already have their big savings accounts and everything. And when they do what they do, they're the same ones that's getting the interest on the money, because the interest is going up. But the little man down in the field, he don't have no money to put up. And the little money that he put up for the rainy day, he has to spend it now. So how are they going to live?
Well, every time I see the Bank of England governor with his big belly, he has nothing to worry about. These guys have nothing to worry about. Yeah, well, we got to guys. What do you say in final? 'Cause I got to touch on the Windrush bit and leave the interest rate so we can actually.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Conclude. I like what Gary's saying. I
Yeah.
agree with Garry a lot. You know, the government must take responsibility for it. I do think that all the rich people are feathering their own nests.
They're not going to
think
feel it. They won't feel it, as you say, guys.
Exactly.
They won't feel it.
And if you look, it's like 37.5% of the UK population are homeowners.
Yes.
And if you take if out of that 37.5% of the UK's population, how many people have got a mortgage this year? I don't have those figures, but clearly those people who's got a mortgage this year are, however many few they are influencing the interest rates going up for the 37.5% of the UK's population that has probably had mortgages for 5, 10, 15, if not 20 years. And then they are being punished to try and curb this interest rates, to try and curb this inflation. Sorry, you know, I think it's just a con. I think that the average person who is on the street, who's trying to make a living, who's trying to make ends how insulting to say, try and find another job, there's already nurses doing double shifts and queuing up in the food banks. There's nurses doing double shifts and queuing at the food banks because to put food on the table for the kids. And someone says the answer to this is try and find a better, more source of earnings. It's just ridiculous. It's an insult. These people are only out to look after themselves. These people are only out to make the rich richer. The gap globally between the rich getting richer and the poor getting poorer is a disgrace. It's happening all around the world. We need someone else to get in government who's going to begin to look after the people rather than just the rich.
I was going to ask a question. So are we talking about that there needs to be a change of government, the Labour government in?
Well, I think the Labour government is like jumping out of the frying pan into the fire, to be honest.
Well, one of the things which is really crucial though is the fact that the nurses and the doctors and everyone really was getting some money recently, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to come back out on the street again because they say that's all gone. All the money that they're supposed to receive a while, it's all gone because the mortgage, and everything has just gone again. And Clarity
says in the comments, it's nothing to do with the rich people.
Yeah.
It's just wrong. My friend, listen, the day that the average man and woman on the street is walking around with a smile on their face and the rich people are frowning because they are struggling to maintain their wealth because we've got a system in place that is taking a little bit more money from them and giving the average man and woman a little bit more money in their pockets, the day that arrives, then I will be a happy man.
Yes. Yeah, it's a serious thing, and we got to recognize that everybody's feeling it, and it's a worldwide thing. But at the same time, when you look at it in a way, you got people who can actually spend £250,000 to just go down to look at a ship. No disrespect at the same time. So people have money out there, and you barely can buy food in the supermarket because food prices didn't even go up a couple of cents, but but went up in dollars. But I must say, I've been complaining about my orange juice, which went up from 50p to 85 pence. Actually, it dropped. It dropped to 65p recently. It dropped.
It's going back up. It's going back up.
It went down. It went back down.
Okay. Obviously, the staff in that shop are not getting a pay rise this year.
well, no. They whispered to me. I said, "Look at the other shop. Look at the other things. Other things have gone up to compensate it." That's what one of them whispered in my ear and said. Guy, listen. Unless you want to talk about, the Windrush. What's your talk about the Windrush generation? 75 years of, the.
Well, I think is the just elaborate on the Windrush generation. Is that when the cheap labor arrived?
Cheap labor arrived. That's a very interesting one. That is when that's a very interesting one. I like how you put it. That was when England invited persons from the Caribbean to come over to help rebuild.
This is exactly to do with what I was saying about a conflict of interest, because the members of parliament back in that day had all these positions, had all these businesses. They couldn't pay the staff in the UK the salaries that they wanted to pay them so that they could obviously have their 3 houses, 4 houses, their 5 Rolls Royces. And so the businessmen who were members of parliament made these laws to be able to bring in people from other countries with respect, and then they would be happy to do the jobs that the British people at that point was refusing to do because it was too low a salary. So, but that was exactly when there was a conflict of interest with the members of parliament, and it was after that those people was brought in that I think the laws began to change, that you couldn't be a member of parliament if you was an active director on, with your own business, because it was this conflict of interest where you was making laws to suit yourself rather than making laws to suit the people. But I personally, I don't care if I think it was wrong for us to leave Europe. Which I don't mind people. If I was in France and I got a family and no money, I would be doing exactly the same thing as all those other people would be doing, trying to jump on those boats and enter the UK and get a better life for me and my family. I would do the same thing. So I've got no problems with anyone entering this country and trying to make a better life for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Garry, what you heard? You heard what? Sorry, let's say you're on mute. Actually, I was sorry. I'm sorry. You had a there was a sound which was coming up. Sorry, from your thing.
I'd like to hear what Lester has to say about the Windrush.
I can't hear from Lester. You say what you say, because Lester, why can't I unmute you? Because Lester, you mute yourself. Let's say you mute yourself, Lester. You muted yourself.
Yeah, sorry about. I thought you muted. I thought you muted me.
Yeah.
You know, as a the Windrush was a movement, was a powerful movement. And I'm not sure, but I don't think that the UK has a specific day set aside to honor these people, because these people came over to England and they helped to build the whole United Kingdom, because a lot of people are in Wales, they're in Scotland, they're in Ireland and places like that, and as a what we have seen over the last 50 years is Asian people coming together, Indians coming together. We see different groups of people that live outside of their land, their home base. Yeah, they're coming together, they're forming alliances, and they are having impact on where they are now. And I think that the Windrush generation, especially persons from the Caribbean, and even the African nations, they should have a day set aside, an official day set aside, to honor these people, because these people helped to rebuild the United Kingdom. And it's a shame that there's nothing national, there's nothing structured, to honor. And many of these people will go and their name will go uncalled. But when you look at the persons who the bricklayers, the nurses, the garbage collector, the persons who were on the ground, on the grind, people who were there to do the jobs that the Brits didn't want to do or could not do, so these people should be celebrated and highlighted.
Yeah, but I can say.
Can I just say I'm going to jump off.
Okay.
Can I just say to Garry?
Lester was speaking. Lester was speaking.
That was absolutely excellent. I do not disagree with you. I think that the Windrush people, like you said, they've held this country afloat. They've done the jobs. They've filled the gaps. And I am just embarrassed that we have an elected government that cannot see the importance of something so simple that could mean so much, to actually put aside one day to celebrate. There's nothing wrong in what he said. I like what he said. I wish, unfortunately, they haven't, but I wish more of our MPs had a little bit of empathy, like what Garry has said. Things like the Windrush people. All the best. Enjoy the rest of your evening, everyone.
All the best. Take care, guys. And before we go back onto the Windrush bit there, thank you. Michelle Clark, as just said, she has told us all our business. So let us put our business back up again. What you used to pay $3 went up like $5. My house insurance went up £600 more than what I used to pay. And she said, I'm telling you all my business, using me as an example. So she's actually saying it is not just in the UK, but also in the USA and also in Japan.
But Sylbourne, funny thing, prices and interest rates in Jamaica are going down, especially the last 2 weeks. We see wholesalers.
Go on, Lester. Sorry.
We see wholesalers and suppliers actually reducing their price to the customers, to the consumers, and it is a first that we see that nationally. We see small, medium, large businesses are reducing their prices because inflation is interest rate is going down, inflation is going down, and they are seeing a better production for their dollar, so they can pass on that now to the customers to which a customer now can use the same the new money, to especially the new money, you know, to buy more goods and services.
So therefore, I'll have to say to Terry Long, who is actually in the UK, I'm going to see him on Saturday. When I interview him, I'm going to say, "Are you coming here to invite us to all go back to Jamaica?" Because I'll have to bring that up at some point at the diaspora conference, which is in the UK, to say that with a high level of interest rate and with things going down in Jamaica, is it the right time to go back to Jamaica? And so like that, you know. Somebody say here, the Tory party, the financial sector, and the media have destroyed the UK. There was no way to sort it. Well, I'm in the media now. I hope I'm not destroying it. I'm building it. Yes, let's build it. Dr. Clark is gaining international respect. World Bank president recently mentioned him. Well, they mentioned Garry. World Bank mentioned you, Garry, as well. So Garry, you're getting respect. Yeah? You know, they've got to mention. Got to mention Nigel. I think, you know, but I want to go back to the Windrush bit there, just to put it into perspective. Because let's just say that there need to be some level of recognition. Well, this here is they're celebrating 75 years of the Windrush generation, and 22nd of June, which is today, that's why I brought it on the topic, marks 75 years since the MV Empire Windrush arrived in the UK. And they said there are a lot of events happening, educational, arts, and sporting projects, and activities are being held across the UK to celebrate the Windrush generation and their contribution to society. New speakers for school program featuring Levi Roots, Patterson Joseph, supported by government funding, Garry, Graham, and many others. Sorry, Gary's not there, but anyway, I just saw it there a while ago. National Windrush Day.
No. I mean, okay, you're reading out something there, which is okay. That's fine.
It's on the government. It's on the government side. Yeah, the government UK. Yeah.
Yeah, but I just want to say here, and I don't know if my learned friend Dr. LP Gale, I don't know when he got the doctorate, but let me just
I do not question a man's credentials. I just accept.
But I'm kind of looking at things a little, or I have been looking at things a little bit more clearly. Sometime back, when I say sometime back, a couple of years back, I can't remember the dates. I don't know if Lester was aware when here in the UK there was a documentary which was shown, I believe it was on Channel 4 by a particular researcher. It was excellent. As far as I was concerned, it was an excellent piece of work that was broadcast. In the broadcast, yes, he documented that around the same time, I believe, was it when Winston Churchill was prime minister? I'm not sure, right? But anyway, if it was him, it was documented that at the time Windrush, I don't know if there was another ship at the time, when Windrush was on its way here, on its way to Southampton, it's documented that he was wanting to turn that ship around and send it to Africa to go and pick peanuts. And we are here celebrating that fact. Now, we've got to remember this, my friends. Don't let these things blind us. We must not. Now, yes, my parents came and other parents came not knowing what the prime minister of this country was trying to do, not knowing what he was trying to do to turn that ship around. Yes. 75 years later or 100 years later, I think, or 75, we're now celebrating, the fact that they came, but we're still being treated as if we are second-class citizens.
Yes.
To me again, even the term Black History Month. Okay. But why are we
you're digging into something, Gary? Go on.
Why are we having Black History Month? What is there a White History Month? Is there a Asian History Month? We don't hear of them things. We don't hear of a pink History Month or a yellow History Month. But yet we have a Black History Month. What is that supposed to mean? What is really that supposed to mean? Are we second class? That are they giving us back our dignity? So we never had it before.
You're having conversation.
Huh?
But Reverend, you know, I saw an article in one of the local newspapers in Jamaica recently, and they were talking about the Chinese getting a lot of preferences and stuff like that, right? But one of the things, you know, I think, and the president for the Chinese Benevolent Center came out and said, listen, we have an association. We have an association, and our association represent our members to the highest level and in an aggressive way. Now, if we as a people in whatever jurisdiction we are, if we don't form associations, if we don't form alliances, if we don't form multilateral businesses, if we don't form corporations, right, at every level, we will sit and still be asking for the rulers of the jurisdiction that we are in. Hey, can we do this? Hey, can we have this? One of the things that we see Chinese do, or the Asians do, including India and the Japanese also in that, and the Pakistanis and stuff like that, they are forming corporations. In Canada right now, the trucking industry is run by the Afghanistan, the Indian, the Pakistanis, and these people. There are communities now that the Chinese and Indians are buying up communities. And you know who they're blocking out from having ownership or rental in these communities?
Black.
I know.
We. You know,
And you know what, Lester? The interesting thing about it, it just dropped on me a while ago. And I know it sounds a bit funny at this time of Windrush time. We keep seeking those who are our the perpetrators to give us validation.
exactly.
Why are we having Black History Month? It's as if we are begging society to accept us.
And Garry, it is the same rulers of these jurisdiction, right?
Yeah.
That is said, hey, let us give them Black History Month. And then we say, yes. And I'm like,
But also with Black History Month, what you see happening? Let's say it. I get whatever. Because a lot of people then start to jump around to get the funding or the pittance which is given out, and they actually fight against each other.
yes.
Because they wait for Black History Month in order to get a food.
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I said it.
No, but you have to say it, man. You should be saying this is what should be said so that people know that we know what they're doing, and they must stop it. The Windrush, we don't have. Okay, all right. There's a place for Windrush, but we must know. We must be told. I think we've got to be told that the same governors that invited our foreparents here were the same people that wanted to send it to Africa to pick peanuts. I think that needs to be told because it's documented. It's documented.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, Sylbourne,
Go on.
that when these documentaries are being shown, and we don't listen to these things. Probably we don't listen to documentaries when we should be, when facts, words and figures, evidence is being thrown out there that we don't act on these things, and we're not telling our masters, if that's what they want us to know them as, that we are learning, that we are coming to our senses, and they must stop doing these things, and then and we will stop reacting to these things.
The scales go on. The scales have dropped off. Hashrak, do you have something to say about this particular point? Because you just said something. They control the food too. They control everything, and we are like begging something still after all these years. We are still in that sort of paradigm. Ashrak, you have something to say?
Not really. I was just commenting on what he was saying, because what we don't realize, I have taken
I have taken a baby that belongs to this family off some foods. I had thought that's a Lacto 1 Plus. We thought it was made in Jamaica. So, becoming inquisitive now and wanting to know what our baby is eating, we went ahead and we did some Google search. And it took us 5 times challenging Google to find out. And they're the ones who make this thing. She was on Pediasure. We have taken her off Pediasure because everything leads right back to these people. Whatever you think, you buy Vicks. I had a little issue with my knee, and somebody was giving me a Vicks rub yesterday. I said, no Vicks. I don't want nothing. Let me leave me. I want natural things. And if it can't be done natural, it's going to stay. Because we have sat back too long in our... As long as we are existing and we can get something to drink and we can get somewhere to sleep and we can party, we were fine.
Mm.
There was those of us who were trying to make a difference.
Yes.
You know, it was minuscule. Those of us were trying, but we were fine with just. I mean, it upset me the other day. I don't know why it upset me. It shouldn't upset me. But I'm on the street. I'm on the street in St. Catherine, and I see somebody Asian, it's the slanted-eyed person coming up, a woman and her husband. And then when we look behind her, there was this man, this black man. He might carry one load of bucks and bag him alone, and they're walking freely in front. And I was so angry, I had to say something.
Yeah.
I was so angry, I had to say something. You see, I am no longer the person I used to be, and I have realized that. I cannot be who I used to be anymore. Yeah. You don't tell me, when I pass, I look at Carrie and I see the name and it shows. I tell Carrie, that's the people still go to Carrie.
Okay.
I'm watching movies anymore.
Yeah. Can I thanks? Yeah.
Movies anymore?
Yeah. Thanks for that. Can I just say something else, Gary? Something we just came out recently based on a recent study on Leicester and for viewers as well. Windrush generation, hundreds were sent back to Caribbean from UK hospitals. Mm-hmm. Archives show about 400 long-term sick and mentally ill people were repatriated, according to BBC investigations. So in a nutshell, what it is, a few people sometimes, they were like had mental health issues, and they were sent back to the Caribbean, to UK. They were in UK hospitals, sometimes without giving even informed consent. And National Archive documents are finding that out now. So it does bring another stain. Garry, don't you think that there needs to be some level of justice at the same time? I mean, you know, people. I mean, a lady named Amma Trading, her father, who she believed went back to the Caribbean because he didn't want to be with them. Only now she's finding out that actually he was sent back because of mental health, and they found a letter which he wrote to the government to say that, can I come back?
No, but how did he? If he went back on mental health, and wrote a letter to the government, what does that indicate to you? To some extent, him never have mental health problem. Him never have mental. You see, the problem is that when people left there to come to the UK back in the 40s. Probably 30s, 40s, or 50s, right? They made the conscious decision to come in here now. They never want them, and how they probably behaved or thought or acted, right? Just like how some of us behave. I mean, look at for an example, whether it's a good one or not, I don't know, but look at this example. Yeah, if them see Lester walk down the road with a couple men, right? And police come.
It's Gaza.
Is not one policeman coming for him, you know. Yeah. It's a van load coming for one black
trailer load of police. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's how we behave. They don't understand. Now, probably I'm not saying that everybody that they send home were not or didn't have mental health, but I don't believe everybody that they sent back there, the majority had mental health, because if this father could have been deported because of mental health, according to what the British government is saying, and everybody would believe what a government official is saying because it's a government. He's sent back, but he is, I would say now, he's got the mental acumen to write a letter or get somebody to write a letter for him asking them to come back here. What does that show you? What does that tell you? Does that tell you that he had mental health issues? That doesn't give no indication that he had mental health issues.
Graham is just saying someone here, there's been something interesting documents showing that their lives in Jamaica was better than here in the UK.
Yes, it was.
Well,
yeah. Listen. You know, Lester knows. I know that there are many people here in the UK know, right? West Indians, because we've lived there, right? That the houses, the families that many were coming from, they had helpers there. Them our people never have to always cook and clean house and all of that. But they had people who were employed to help them at home and with their children, and they had beautiful homes. You see, when the media here goes to Jamaica, where the media go? Jungle and Rima and them places, they're up in the bush. They don't show the places where people, ordinary people live.
And that is why it's so important for persons on social media when they show up different places as such as possible. Because that is what actually is pinpointing places that the media sometimes don't know, because they try to put a narrative. And I sometimes watch these. I watch sometimes these interviews, Gary, and they can be very condescending. Even the whole Windrush thing, it's like you somewhat indirectly have your knees on the neck, but you do it in a very subtle way to show that we're actually making you, we're actually giving you something, and blah blah blah. I think we just have to wake up.
Let me just make a point here, and Lester, I'm sure will support me on this point. Now, I may have mentioned Rima and Jungle and all them places, and Jonestown and Greenwich Farm. But I'm telling you, my parents, my mother, she used to tell me that those were the most beautiful places in Kingston. Yeah. You probably can't walk down there now, but there were places in Kingston there, down Trenchtown, Carnation Market, all them places there you could walk at night time. Nobody's troubling you. The properties were beautiful, flowers and everything like that. So when I call the names like that, that doesn't mean that those places were always the places that they are now.
Yeah,
there were places of safety, beautiful, and where families lived. So yeah, go ahead, Lester.
But Gary, I have to agree with you, and I've mentioned that on Talk and Sip already. Those areas that you call out. Remember, Rima is not the name, the correct name for it, and the correct name is Wilton Gardens,
Right.
Wilton Gardens.
Wilton Gardens.
Yeah.
Right? And Jungle is what?
Leicester.
Omar Davis. Omar Davis.
Was it Rosetown? It's not Rose.
No, it's Trenchtown.
Trenchtown. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing is that Red Hills, Jack's Hills, Beverly Hills, Meadowbrook, all these places were places that horses and cows were roaming.
Right.
So where we see Pavilion Plaza in Half a Tree now, that's where Kingston stopped.
Right.
So the Meadowbrook and the Jack's Hill are new developments.
That's why they call it above. Above rock was in a way above.
Yeah, they call it Upper St. Andrew.
Upper St. Andrew. Yeah.
So these Trenchtown and Rosetown and these places, if you are to go into these communities and see some of the original houses, you will see the Georgian architecture.
Yeah.
You will still see it there, But what has happened is that when you have two classes of people started to mix, you're going to have issues. The people from the rural area started to migrate to Kingston to seek better opportunities. And so it's like say Sylbourne from
Ochi.
No. So Sylbourne has a house, have a business, and he lives in Rosetown, right? Yeah. And he has a helper, but the helper is from Westmoreland. and the helper's big daughter now leave school and want something to do in Kingston, right? So the helper will go to Sylbourne and say, well, my daughter want to get a job. Can she come and stay with me in the helper's quarters? The helper's quarters usually detached from the main house.
Yes.
And she said, no problem. She come to town, she start where she find a little boyfriend, and she get pregnant for the gardener of the property next door.
Next door.
Next door.
Yes.
So remember now, it's 3 persons that living in the helper's dwelling that was meant for 1 person, right? And just imagine that daughter now get pregnant again. So you start see that the place start grow, and so the different classes of people start to clash. So that's how the wealthy started to buy properties now above half a tree, start to buy out Meadowbrook and stuff. So that's how it get populated.
Yeah.
But the thing is, one of the main things that has plagued our country, because I won't even talk about the region, Jamaica specifically, it is the necessity is not being placed on formal education. The necessity is not being placed. When you look at countries like Barbados, who for generations have education was free. I think it's last year or 2 years ago that they stopped paying full tuition for university students in Barbados. But for the last 60 years or so, Barbados, Trinidad, these places, right, have emphasized. When you look at the university, people who matriculate to university in these small island states are way more, in terms of the average citizen of these countries, are way more than in Jamaica. When you look at persons from these Caribbean states who come to the University of the West Indies, come to the University of Technology, right, up to NCU, NCC in NCU in Manchester, right? There's a lot of Caribbean nationals, from Virgin Islands, St. Kitts and Curacao and these places that come to Jamaica for education. We, by law, we don't have an education act by law that is mandatory, that children must go to school, and this is one of the problems in terms of crime, in terms of accessibility to marketplaces and stuff like that, right? Jamaicans, they will talk English good. Jamaicans, they will talk English good. So we as a people, and this is where now we're to put the fire to our representational personnel to say, hey, we need some real representation in the form of education, right? Because when you see some of the comments, when you see some of the things coming up, when you see some of the gullibleness that people believe, things that people throw out, right? We are seeing a pattern, even with some of the crimes where, like, Sylbourne, me and Garry have something, and make we keep it 100%. You and I, Sylbourne, I've had many disagreements, right? We have never reached to a place where we disrespect each other.
Yeah.
You understand me? We would have strong opinions, difference in opinions, right? Very strongly. But we have never reached to a place where we are disrespecting each other based on the level of education that both of us continue. Because we know that as two adult men, we can have strong disagreement, strong difference in opinions without being disrespectful.
Yes.
When we have a population like almost 3.5 million people, where we don't have even 500,000 people with university graduate or high school graduates, right? 40,000 people students per year leave the high school system without even one CXC in Jamaica. So when you see the crime problem and the types of crime too, you see a direct correlation in single parent homes and on education.
In the UK, children are supposed to go to school, and if you don't go to school, they find you. Yeah, they find you, and also they find you unless you're homeschooling and so like that. What you're trying to say that in Jamaica, if children don't go to school, nobody not gonna look for them.
No.
Well, that's true. That's true.
For them. Mm.
No, you can't like your parent. Like here, it's by law the child has to go. I have a friend that went to vacation.
Let's say you're talking about Jamaica, just in case people are here and you're in Netherlands. So when you say
Netherlands.
here, he's not in Jamaica, he's Netherlands.
In the Netherlands.
Yes.
A friend of mine went on vacation 3 years ago with her daughter, right? And she was supposed to come back on the Sunday or the Saturday before school school starts back. There was a delay in the flight, so some mix up with the flights and stuff like that. So once you travel outside of Europe, it is a 10 to 15 hour flight coming back. Sylbourne, you know that Sylbourne, it's a long flight, you know.
Yeah.
So if you leave on a Tuesday, you're going to reach back on a Wednesday, you know. So what happened is that she got the plane on the Monday, a flight on a Monday, right? So she won't be back into the Netherlands until the Tuesday, and you know, jet lag and tired, so the child won't be going to school until maybe the Wednesday. When she came to the airport, right? Once her passport was scanned, they took her out of the line. Just because our child did not show up for school, an alert was sent out.
Yeah.
This is how serious they take it. My eldest brother in New York, his daughter my niece was sick. Went to the doctor. They reported to the school. Went to the doctor, and so it's okay, cool. One day, the following day, my niece didn't come to school. It was the police and the guidance counselor that showed up at his door the following day. Police and the guidance counselor. Yeah. Why is she not in school?
Yeah. Well, definitely we have to pick up on this one because some of the comments on TikTok is saying a very interesting discussion, and I think it's opened up a lot of things as well, especially the history of Jamaica as well, Kingston, uptown and downtown. It's funny thing that everybody sometimes will say me hear that already, but many others will have never heard it before. Garry, in closing on the Windrush bit, any last word on it?
Well, I just think it's about time that we as West Indians, as Black people, we come to I know many of us, we're sensible people. I know that. I don't want to sound as if I'm demeaning anybody at all, because some of the most intellectual people that we do have in our world and let's say in our country are West Indians. And let me be a little bit partial by saying Jamaicans, but we need to wake up and come to the realization that we have what we have by our own rights. Nobody, we must not give anybody any reason to believe that they're the ones that is giving us our own respect. We have our respect.
Yes.
Yeah. We don't have a Black History Month, which is once a year. No. I'm not going to celebrate.
In the shortest month.
The Black History Month. No. We have, every day is our day. Every month is our month.
Yeah.
You know, every year is our year. And I think that we need to take it back and let people know that we're not swallowing hook, line, and sinker everything that we have been told. And that is it. No, I don't believe in that at all.
So what you're actually saying is that yes, you can celebrate. Yes, we can get all the compensation, but let not that be a factor which is they're holding over our heads to say without it we can't go forward. We can't go forward. Because a lot of people actually have that view that they cannot go forward without these things. And I think as a people we have got to actually say. And that's why I always say about reparations as well. I say, listen, if we not get him, we're not go dead. You know what I mean? Like some people believe that if they, I mean, you know, one I said it one time, and the guy he write a big story about me, say Sylbourne is at odds with the community for saying he doesn't want reparation and blah blah blah. I said, Virgin, remember the guy that wrote the big, I don't know, you know, and these things. But I honestly believe that we've got to really recognize that we are the head and not the tail. And if we keep going,
Sylbourne, you see this talk of reparations, right?
Yes.
How would somebody quantify what I am to get as opposed to what you are to get? Suppose during the slavery, my family get more atrocities, got you more atrocities than your family. Should we still get equal money?
Well,
But what is that though, Lester? I mean, what did your family have to go through that Sylbourne's family didn't? I mean, how are you going to quantify that?
I'm
so
saying.
you were just using an example there, yeah.
Yeah, because all right. So for instance, my family have some wolf unruly slaves, right? And them love runway, right? And they chop off them toe, they chop off their hand, them. But Sylbourne family was more submissive. I said, boy, you know what I say? Why it's a Leicester family that so it's Leicester family I get. You know what? We can't go through that, you know. We stay put. You know what I mean? So my family get more damage than your family. How it go? So what Sylbourne family was the brown people and we living at the Great House, and you know we're the master clothes at them. So
No, but the thing about
we're the bush jacket them. We're the bush.
No, but the other thing is this, right? I just want to put this out there. There was someone that we were told that my wife was told about, who said that she had applied for some Windrush money and she never got it. Now, how is that? I mean, she's an individual that probably in her 70s. She's been here from when she was a child and all of that. Her mom came over on a Windrush, and to know that you can, they say there's money there, you get the application. It seems that hardly there's any kind of help, even to fill out the form, and yet get turned down. I think that is disrespectful to her. I think that's really disrespectful.
Well, I'm gonna interview. Somebody mentioned Jeff Palmer. I know Jeff Palmer well. I saw him a few months ago. Jeff Palmer is doing great work on pressing the reparations agenda. I believe someone recently quantified, and I think there was a firm, like some accounting firm, that actually quantified and said this is the amount of money. And everybody was saying, please don't send it to the politicians, and please just don't send it to the politicians. You know, but guys, we're going to wrap up here. But just before I go, just to let you know that this Saturday, the 24th, the UK is going to have their own diaspora conference, and that's going to be at Brunel University, which I mentioned earlier, celebrating 75 years of the Windrush. That is one of the things. We got the sponsors there. I'm going to pop down there, and I'm going to sort of do some sort of coverage at the same time. One of the interesting thing about the weekend is that there's going to be persons like Orlando Terrelong, MP. There's going to be also Lester. There's going to be, what's his name, Rocky Mead.
Yeah, Colonel Rocky Mead.
Yeah, Colonel Rocky Mead. Dr. Rocky Mead is going to be there, Matunda, and they're going to be talking about lots of different discussions. Some of the discussions that they're going to have, I've also got a sort of agenda here. They're going to be talking about the Windrush 75, the power of the Jamaican diaspora, leaving a lasting legacy in Britain. With persons like Patrick Vernon, Professor Martin Livermore. There's going to be Professor Nira Chambers and Jacqueline Mackenzie. She's a lawyer who's doing a lot of work regarding the Windrush and the compensation, along with Patrick Vernon as well. And there's a plenary 2. There's going to be promoting entrepreneurship, investing in Jamaica, strategies and best practices. There's going to be Courtney Campbell, the president and CEO of Victoria Mutual Group. I just posted a video I did with him. Lawrence Jones from Jam Pro. It's going to be Chef Colin Brown, a development senior executive of the Turtle Bay Restaurant Groups. I thought the Turtle Bay Restaurant Group was white owned, but I guess maybe the Chef Colin Brown. Cause a lot of Jamaicans or a lot of people are saying, don't go there because they're not authentic Jamaican or so. But it seems to be that has changed. The diaspora youth as well going to be there talking about things, and also interestingly, there's going to be participation in Jamaica constitutional reform, which is going to be with Malahoo Fort. I think she's going to be online. That's the one, Rocky Mead, Lester, and Matunda and Corey Hyde. Corey Hyde should be there in person, not on the internet. trust me, openly. Yeah. So
Who's going to represent the interest of the people in all of this?
what's
You're calling some names.
what's the interest of the
Who's going to
people?
represent the interest of the people?
Well,
Represent the interest of the Jamaican poor people. Because I know who you call right now. Slow, please. Who's going to represent us, Jamaicans, the baseline Jamaicans? Who will represent the interests of these people? Because all we just call, you just call
Professor.
Malawood, you just call Terry Long, you just call Rocky Mead, you just call some people who's gonna represent the people of Jamaica, the real people of Jamaica.
Within the UK. So what you're saying then?
Within the UK discussion that you're about to have.
Yeah.
Who's gonna talk because all of these people you just call it, they don't have any interest in a we. They're there with them own. I don't get it though. So that's what it's just another bunch of people talking and getting things ready for their rich friends to get that.
MP all under Terry Long.
Let's say gonna let.
We are tired. There is no real representation for the people. There is not.
That's not true. That's not true. That's not true because
upset very long. Rocky Me, who came into this position under duress, I mean, to the public as far as I'm concerned, Malahu Ford and whoever, Jesus of mercy, man. When are we going to find
no, but
hold on. Let's I want to say something here.
We don't need to conflate and issues. You know, the Rocky Meat situation was unfortunate, but there was a
Sure it was. He was coming from a military base.
But I was giving an explanation. I decided to cut me off, but I was no. But
let's say trying to give an explanation, and I got to wrap up as well. Go on.
What I'm saying, Rocky Me situation has nothing to do with this, right? He's a Jamaican. He has served in the military, right? He has served in government also, right? Alana Terlang is an esteemed lawyer, right? He's also a member of parliament. Very good member of parliament too, somebody who's a friend of mine, right? Believe me, in his constituency, he represents the people. He's on the ground, he looks out for the people, right? So there is a representation for the Jamaican, there is a representation for Jamaicans there, right? Whether you accept that representation, that's a different thing. We can't force you to accept that representation, but there is a representation.
He seems a good guy. Let's just
you're just pushing that down my throat. Accept it or leave it. It's fine, it's okay. We know where it's going and we know what's gonna happen there. We know because it's all about the affluence interest, not
all right. Can I tell you something? I'm going to be there and I'm going to be doing a lot of interviews there, and I'm gonna send you the link as well for it's gonna be broadcast live. Not just myself, there's going to be a live broadcast there. But separately from that, I will be doing a lot of interviews and talking to different persons. I think it's very important that I attend as well, and to get a feedback. And what you've said is true. And that is something, of course, that... Well, we'll have to. Well, you know, I think they have some good people going to be there. Matunda is going to be there as well. Matunda, former acting public defender, and that's why he said, Sylbourne, you got to be there as well. So I'll send you the link as well. I'll send you guys a link so you can tune in as well and tune into the. I'm gonna go live. I'm gonna go live on Saturday as well, from there as well. So that's it, buddy. That's it. Let me see who else. Michelle said Leicester a GLP, so take it, sis. So somebody said.
But Sylbourne, it is not about GLP. No, I'm saying. People need to understand that you can't just take an old Joe off of the street and send them so. You understand me?
Yes.
A political representative, right? And I wish that somebody. No, it's not a but it's not a disrespect. I'm saying that old Joe is a no.
Why are you condescending in your response? You're condescending in your response right now.
No, I'm not being condescending. When I say old Joe, but
in Jamaica. You were talking about how Jamaica got started and we're uptown because it was classism.
Classism caused all of that.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And you're gonna fight the poor people about it's all a slave mentality. Plutocracy is not bad in Jamaica. It's alive and well.
Who wasn't born in Jamaica?
It's alive and well in Jamaica.
Who wasn't born in Jamaica?
Plutocracy is alive
Oh.
and well in Jamaica.
Yes. Yes.
Hmm.
We don't have the chains on our feet and shackles on our hands. But
And I agree with you 100%.
I
But
remember, and I can tell you this: when Mr. Manley said to poor people, if you want to make a difference, get your children to the university. You know what happened after that? No more ministers' children went to university. They all went overseas because it became too local. Because poor people children had arrived there. It's all classes, and you know that.
Lester, go.
And then
Lester, go over on TikTok. Lester, go over on TikTok.
what but wait.
I've closed.
But
Yeah.
wait, no, but Sylbourne, she have to listen to Sylbourne.
Okay. Listen, Ashra, listen to Lester for a second, and then
All
Lester gonna go on.
All I'm saying is that an elected member of parliament, whether the person is a PMP or GLP, you understand? It don't matter to me. This person is sent to represent the country of Jamaica, the people of Jamaica. So when they said our representative is not there, and when I said old Joe, you can't just pick up somebody who you don't sure is going to represent properly for the nation. That's all I'm saying. You can't just select anybody just so. You understand me? You have to select.
Passionate patois. We don't want an eloquent and big words. We want somebody who can go there and speak from the heart. Passionate patois. Something wrong with that? Is there something wrong with that? Because
Yes. Yes, something is wrong with that. Yes, something is wrong with that.
Okay. Graham, the conference is gonna start at 10 a.m. and from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. I'll somehow try to find a way to post the agenda as well. I'm gonna speak to that commission tomorrow to see if there's any updated version as well, and we'll have some more discussion on this conference as well, which is good. And Terry Long he speaks fluent French, in it, or Spanish? Which is it?
French, Spanish, and fluent patois too.
And fluent patois as well. So therefore, you got it covered. You got it covered in any way. Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. Lester, I don't know if I'm going to go on TikTok, but I might. TikTok is on, and thank you for those on Instagram. I found out that on TikTok actually people can actually talk, but they cannot go and show their face unless they got I think 1,000 or so. Yeah. So actually, I was wrong the other day to say that persons can't talk. I think I should have corrected
Sylbourne,
me.
you need to tell me what to do, Sylbourne, because more can go past TikTok and talk.
No, go over on TikTok. Just go over on the TikTok now. I'm there. You're on TikTok, aren't you? You're on TikTok.
Yeah.
Yeah, go over. Yeah. Oh yeah. She's waiting for you. She said, yeah. Oh yeah.
Me talk on TikTok all the while, Sylbourne.
We talk. Oh, well, you have a different name on TikTok.
Yes. That's how you don't know.
Sorry.
That's how you don't know.
You must do that. That's called deception, you know, from a high level, you know.
Yes, Sylbourne. Yes.
But do you have a Gaza name over there as well?
No.
What's your name on TikTok?
When you go over there, you'll see. You'll see the antagonistic. The antagonist.
Okay. And Garry,
you didn't tell the lovely lady that her style of delivery, I like it.
okay, yes.
Right?
Yeah.
It's the right person to talk to.
Can I tell you this? When I met Lester, the conversation wasn't like this. I had to call Lester aside and say, yo, you can't come on from a page and cuss them bad and go on. So
tell her to Vita husband, she say no, yeah?
So Lester is a different Lester than the Lester that I actually met. You know, trust me.
Yeah.
But
We're different.
But the point about it is that you have to actually accept people for who they are and don't actually judge them, or else I wouldn't have talked to Lester. You know, trust me. That's the most important thing. You know. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll see you guys over onto
Reverend.
TikTok. Reverend, you go on TikTok.
Yeah.
Reverend?
I'll try
What do
to
you call
go over there.
it? Chicky Chucky. Chicky Chacky or Wacky Wacky. TikTok is like Wacky Wacky TikTok. All right, Garry, we talk, yeah. Let's see you.
All right,
ladies
then,
and
take care.
gentlemen, thank you so much for joining tonight, and remember to like and subscribe to the Sylbourne Show, much appreciated. And as well, on Saturday, feel free to join the YouTube. I'm going to send the link over for the Diaspora Conference, which is going to be in Brunel University. Unfortunately, I understand that the tickets are full, and they got some sponsors. Actually, they got some sponsors that people you don't have to pay anymore. But it was initially to pay, but you don't have to pay now. It's been sponsored, and I'll be there in Brunel University, and I'll be asking some questions as well, and especially the whole discussion regarding the Constitution and the Republic and all those sort of things, the diaspora getting involved in these things, and to make sure, according to Ashrag, that people chat patois as well and be passionate from the heart as well. Okay, well, thank you very much, and have a good night, and may God bless you and keep you. Saturday night on Talk and Sip, I'm not too sure because might finish down that side a bit late, and then it's my son's birthday as well, so I may have to Talk and Sip this Saturday night as well. Okay, God bless you. Peace out. Bye bye.
Let's go.